postpartum stress. That really drove me crazy. Sleep training, baby essentials, highly recommended. Keep her involved. Mental overload, gotta get creative. The mom guilt, a happy mom is the best mom. Hey Cam fam, welcome to the channel. Today we are doing a much requested Q&A and we are sort of in a hurry because my baby is about to come in here to breastfeed. So let's start. So over on Instagram, I asked you guys to send in your baby and motherhood related questions and you guys did not disappoint. You guys sent in a lot of questions and I'll try to answer most of them. So question number 1, how did you know you're ready for a second baby without the guilt for your firstborn? I think what really helped is that Yoni and I took our time with our second baby. We knew we didn't want to get into things right away. Like after having Sienna, we wanted like a pretty decent age gap between Sienna and her baby sibling. Well, number 1 also because of Sienna, because we were new parents, we wanted to really get the hang of things and really get to know Sienna and really be able to do a lot of things with Sienna first. And then secondly also myself, because after giving birth to Sienna, I really felt like I wanted to get to know myself again and to give myself time to be able to mother Sienna and also at the same time do the things that I want to do before we try for another baby. And so it was really more about being mentally and emotionally and physically prepared and also financially prepared. It's such a huge change for everyone. So I guess that's how we knew we were ready. But of course, when I was already pregnant, pregnancy hormones came into play. So there were still a lot of moments where I would just cry to Yoni because I felt so guilty already, even when the baby was still inside of me. Because there were moments when I couldn't play with Sienna anymore. I couldn't lift her up. I couldn't do certain things with her because I couldn't do certain things because I was pregnant. And so there were moments when I would cry and I would tell him that, you know, the baby isn't even out yet and there's so many things that I can't do with Sienna. I feel so guilty. I was so scared of a lot of things because I didn't want her to feel that so many things are changing because of the new baby, and I didn't want her to feel resentful for that. But I feel like that was really just me overanalyzing in my brain, and the pregnancy hormones of course didn't help. But I think it really helped as well because I kept reading and watching like tips of how to introduce a new baby into the family and how to ease the siblings into the idea of a baby coming into the family. And that's why everything is just so perfect so far now, and I haven't heard anything negative from Sienna since the baby has come into our lives, and I hope that it stays that way. What are the things you'll do differently now as a second time mom? So many. I think number 1 is that I've mentioned this before. I really want Bella to be less sensitive to her sleep environment. Sienna used to never be able to sleep in a stroller back when we were traveling. It was so hard. She would always just sleep in a crib, and if we were in a car seat, it would take her such a long time and it would be such a short nap. But most especially in a stroller, that's really what I want to do with Sienna. Like I want her to learn to sleep in a stroller so that we can always put her to sleep while we're on the go. Because with Sienna, it was always the hardest to put her to sleep in a stroller. We would do a marathon basically trying to put her into sleep. So yeah, that's number 1. Number 2 is baby leg weaning. You guys know I did do that with Sienna, but I feel like somewhere along the way, as she grew older and entered into her toddler stage, parang we let go of the training. So now she doesn't really eat independently, and that's something that we're encouraging a lot, especially at this age. So I hope that with Bella, I'd be able to do things differently so that it won't be as hard for us to let her eat independently. And then with the breastfeeding, that's also one of the biggest changes. You guys know that I went through some struggles with my first breastfeeding journey with Sienna. With Bella, I really did it differently this time. I was reading a lot of breastfeeding books with Sienna, and I was very much a paranoid first-time mom. So I was so paranoid about my milk supply. So I was following this tip that I read that you need to pump every after you feed. And I remember I started pumping very early on, like not even a month after giving birth, I was already pumping. So I feel like that made my nipples so much sore. It made the newborn stage also much more stressful for me. And now with my second-born, all my doctors advised me to really hold off on the pumping. Like if I need to pump, start pumping only after a month of giving birth at least. And that's what I did with Bella. I only started at around 5 weeks, and I didn't do the pumping every after a feed because that really drove me crazy. Now I only pump once after the morning feed because that's when your milk supply is high, and also before I go to bed. So that way I get to slowly build a stash as well. I feel like because of this, my boobs weren't as sensitive for as long of a time as the first time around. It was really like maybe just a week and my boobs were normal again and my nipples were not sore anymore. So yeah, I think those are the major things that I decided to do differently as a second time mom. Aside from the natural changes, of course, you tend to be less paranoid, less confused, less anxious. You're more sure of things now. You tend to trust your mother instinct instincts more now. So yeah, so now that we've talked about the things that I'll do differently, someone is asking what are the baby essentials that I'm gonna be using again for Bella Bear, and also some mom essentials. There are a lot of essentials that we used for Sienna that we're using again for Bella, like of course the no-brainers like the cribs and the strollers, the car seats, the carriers. But of course when it comes to newborns, we want to make sure that everything around them is super safe and clean. So we still make use of a UV sterilizer. We still make use of the same cleaning materials that we used for Sienna, especially because Sienna had such sensitive skin, so we know that these products are tried and tested. I'm a huge fan of the Cycles and Cradle products. So this is what we use for both Sienna and Bella. We use the laundry detergent from Cycles. It's perfect because it's free of all the nasties like SLS, phosphates, fabric softeners, optical brighteners, bleach, dyes, enzymes, which baby skin can react to. So this is made with plant-based surfactants, very mild stain and soil removing agents, pH adjusters, and the fragrance is also super duper mild. So it's super duper safe for baby skin talaga. But even though Cycles laundry detergent is super duper mild enough for baby, it's still very effective in cleaning all of baby's clothes, especially when they get soiled. But for really tough stains, we make use of the Cycles Stain Soaker. It's great because it's color safe, so it doesn't ruin the clothes even though it gets rid of all the tough stains. And then when it comes to baby stuff naman, we make use of Cradle. So this is what we use to clean their bottles, the teats, like their dinnerware for Sienna. We have this everywhere around the house actually, because it's also what we use to clean my pump. We have one in my bathroom, one in Bella's bathroom, one downstairs in the kitchen, so everywhere. So it's really helpful that we also get to just buy this refill, so we don't always have to buy the bottle. It's 100% natural based and also certified non-toxic, so again, it's really safe for baby. And then we use the toy and surface cleaner to clean baby's room and Sienna's room also, all their toys, everything around them. I actually also have this in a tiny little bottle so that I can bring it around with me, so that I can easily clean, let's say, mga high chairs, ganyan. We also have this tiny hand sanitizer that Sienna still uses up to this day. She loves sanitizing. I think she likes the spray sensation, so she loves this so much. She actually calls this her alcohol even though it's alcohol free. I'm really very particular, like I don't want anything alcohol based for their hands. This has no alcohol at all, and just like all the other Cradle products, even though they're so mild and gentle, they're super duper safe and kills 99.9% of disease causing germs. And then when it comes to newborn skincare essentials, we also use Cycles for that. So they have the head to toe wash, so it's this one, and then this is the lotion. It's also something that Sienna loves to use. These are all hyperallergenic and also dermatologist tested, and they're made with really simple yet effective ingredients. You know, when it comes to babies, the simpler, the milder, the better. And then we also use their nappy cream or the Cycles sensitive diaper cream. Bella actually doesn't have as sensitive of a skin compared to Sienna's newborn skin, but we do make sure that we put some sort of barrier between her skin and the diaper, especially before we put her for nighttime sleep, because she already sleeps through the night. So it's nice to keep her bum protected with this one. It's really important for me that the cream we use is fragrance free and also paraben free, just like her body wash and lotion, because I know that some people really like it when there's a nice smell to it, but usually these are the things that cause reactions to really sensitive skinned newborn babies. And then I also make use pala of the Cradle Mama natural breast and nipple wash. I've read this before, and as much as possible you can't really use your normal soap for your nipples because you want to keep them moisturized and protected, and sometimes certain soaps can strip your nipples off of that. So this one is really safe because it's got, again, none of the nasties, and it's 100% natural based, and it makes sure to keep your nipples protected and hydrated so you can avoid dried out and cracked nipples. And then we also make use of these mosquito patches. This one is from Bite Block and this is from Cycles Sensitive. So I put this on their clothing, or for Bella, I put it in her stroller so that when we're out or on the carrier, and it keeps the mosquitoes away. But for older kids, you can also make use of the lotions from Bite Block. I actually use this myself because they're natural citronella spray, and I like the more natural products. So it's got citronella, eucalyptus, lemon oil, so it's really just natural oils. And they have this one especially for kids as well, which I can start using for Bella once she's 6 months and up. And then what else pa ba? So yeah, and then the usual like muslins, sleep suits, washcloths. Nursing pillow, not anymore. That's not really an essential for me. I didn't really use it so much this time around. Of course, a really good breast pump. And then Haka also I still very much use to collect my letdown. And also during the early stages when I wasn't pumping yet and I would feel engorged, I would relieve my breasts through the Haka, the old Haka. The Haka that's like this, This one, that's what I use to relieve my engorgement. And then the new generation, the latest Haka, I would use that more as something that would catch my letdown. But at the same time, if I needed to go out and I needed something to catch my letdown and also possibly relieve me of my engorgement, I would make use of the new Haka so I don't have to bring so much. What else is a newborn essential, my love? He left. Oh, nursing cover. Because tada! Now I'm still able to vlog even though I'm nursing Bella. So she's already here. The time to feed her. What else pa ba? Mga gauze pads to clean their mouth. Mga grooming stuff. Cotton buds, wipes. I'm sure you guys know that already. So always the cleaner, the gentler, the milder, the better. Okay, what else? Sleep training. Earliest time to do it. Ayan, sleep training. I know a lot of you guys are watching this for my sleep training tips because I get this question so much on my Instagram, especially whenever I share how Bella has been sleeping through the night and how we've managed to stick to a schedule with her even before she reached the 2-month mark. I'm very, very much surprised that we were able to sleep train Bella earlier than Sienna because with Sienna, we started sleep training her at 5 months old. With Bella, we basically tried just loosely, like when she was around like a month old. I don't really call it sleep training, but I was following this book called Moms on Call, which Chris recommended to me. So I just listed down the recommended schedule on Moms on Call. They have there a guide for you for the baby schedule from when they're 3 weeks old up until they're 6 months old. So I listed all of that down. And with Bella, we tried to follow it very, very loosely at 3 weeks old. I wasn't so strict about it, but we tried to stick to that schedule. And until eventually, we saw that she was slowly really adjusting to the Moms on Call schedule when she was around 6 to 7 weeks old. And that's when I really saw that, oh my God, she's actually starting to act like a sleep-trained baby. So I combined what I read with Moms on Call with the things that I've learned by sleep training Sienna, plus this book that I read that was written by this scientist. It's also a sleep training book, but hers is based on the wake and sleep cycles, the natural sleep cycles of a person, because you know, we all have our wake and sleep cycles and babies sort of follow the same. So I took advantage of the 90-minute wake cycle of Bella. So I would combine that with the suggested schedule of Moms on Call. Officially, what you normally read online is that you can start sleep training your baby at 4 months old. But I do think it's sort of possible earlier than 4 months old because that's what we've seen with Bella. So my tip would be to really follow a sleep routine. So for us, it's feed and then change diaper, turn off the lights, close the curtains, wear the sleep suit, put her in the crib, and then turn on the sound machine and leave. So that's our sleep routine, whether it's daytime or nighttime, it's always like that. I didn't want Bella to associate breastfeeding or drinking milk to sleep. So that's why I prefer doing that as the first step of our sleep routine rather than the last. But of course, when she was less than a month old, if she needed to feed longer and she would fall asleep, I mean, again, that's why I said we followed it loosely because she's still very, very young. So no need to be so strict about it. If she falls asleep, at least she falls asleep. We put her in the crib asleep. But ideally, what we do is we follow that sleep routine and we put her in the crib awake so that she can sort of put herself to sleep. It's also really important that everyone in the house follows the same routine and everyone follows the same rules. So for us, there's no hele, there's no rocking, there's no swaying, none of those tricks, no walking. If Bella is crying and she needs to be soothed, she needs to be assisted to sleep, we would just hug her. We'd be standing still, we'd hug her, shush her. So shushing is okay, like shh, shh, shh. And then once she's calm, we'll put her down in the crib and we won't wait for her to fall asleep. We'll put her down in the crib awake. So that's what we started doing when we sort of started the sleep training. But again, during the first few weeks of life, we didn't do this. Like we rocked her, we swayed her, we walked her, we did everything because that was still too early. What's important is for her to go to sleep, not for you to train her to sleep. If she needed to sleep on her chest, then so be it. If she needed to sleep on my boob, then so be it. She's only been alive for the first few weeks anyway. She gets all the comfort she needs. So another tip that I would share is that when baby cries, don't jump and get her right away. That's something that we learned also with Sienna. Babies sometimes just cry even though they're still asleep. Like they would go wah, 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 and then after a while, they'd sleep. But if they start going wah, wah, and they're meant to go to sleep again, but you went in and picked her up and hugged her and tried to shush her right away, sometimes that even wakes them up. So wait just a minute or two and see if baby is really crying or baby is going to go back to sleep by herself. Another sleep training tip that I have is that now that Bella is 2 months old. Again, as I've mentioned, I follow the 90-minute wake cycle. So if I see that she was already up, let's say at 6:30 a.m., then I know that I need her to be in her crib before the 90-minute wake cycle is done. So that would be before 8 a.m. And from observing Bella, because again, as I've said, we no longer assist Bella, she puts herself to sleep. I see that she usually falls asleep within 10 to 30 minutes. So then I would adjust and make sure that we're done with her sleep routine by around 7:10, 7:20, ganyan. And then she goes to sleep. And then again, when she wakes up, it's the same routine. We also have to like turn off the sound machine, open the curtains, remove her sleep suit. So she also knows she has these wake up cues. And then for my last tip, I would say to check out Moms on Call, because I don't know if Bella is just like a really calm, easy baby that knows how to put herself to sleep, or if it's because of the schedule that we followed. I did tweak the schedule a bit after seeing what works for me and Bella. But yeah, there's no harm in trying. How do you balance life as a mom with all the changes? Do you follow a daily schedule? So before I answer this question, I would like to preface this by saying that I don't think I'd be able to do as much as I'm able to do if it's not for all the help that we have around us. The Kokoro Ates, our nannies, my team with my content creation. It's really because of all of them that I'm able to still have some sort of mom work-life balance. But yes, to answer your question, I do try to follow a schedule. So because Bella has a schedule already, I'm also able to have a schedule for myself. Like I know what time she's sleeping and she wouldn't be needing me, and that's when the time I can schedule, like let's say a Pilates or like washing my face, taking a bath, these types of things. But of course, this still doesn't come with its challenges. A lot of the times I still opt to just stay at home because I'd rather latch Bella because I don't want to have to pump so much, and when I'm away I have to pump. So then because of that, because of me wanting to be with Bella all the time, I would say that I'm not able to balance things the way that I would like it to be balanced. But this is completely normal, especially with having a newborn at home, and I know that it's not going to be forever. I know that I'd be able to do more outside of being a mom as she grows older. So I just take my small wins every now and then and try to squeeze in a few things to make me have some sort of a semblance to like a work mom life balance. How do you cope with postpartum stress? Aside from postpartum stress, also the mental overload of having two kids, especially one of them being a newborn. I think that stress that comes with that mental overload and like the overstimulation of having two kids, plus the postpartum stress, is really what makes it extra challenging. What helps me though is really voicing this out to my partner, to my husband. I find that when I bottle this in, I start becoming resentful, I start becoming really stressed and anxious and depressed. So it really helps when I sit down and talk to Yoni about it and tell him what I'm feeling, so he can also help me figure it out, and he can also help lighten the load for me as best that he can. And I think it's really helpful when he's there to remind me that I need to, let's say, get out of the house, because that's actually one of the things that he thinks is causing me so much sadness, is that I'm always just cooped up in the house and I don't want to leave, and I just want to be here together with the kids and really take care of Bella, most especially because she's still a newborn. And just me chickening out and talking myself out of like going out with my friends, just having a quick lunch or doing Pilates outside of the house, because you know I'd rather just latch Bella and I don't want to use my free time to not take care of the kids, and you know the mom guilt just takes over. But he reminds me that I will spiral if I don't do things for myself, like going out and just like having a quick bite with a friend or two. And so yeah, I think that really helps me. It also helps me when I do get to go out, even for just a short time, when I do my Pilates. Whenever I come home from my Pilates workout with One Life Studio, I would tell Yoni that I feel really happy now, I feel really energetic, let's go out for a walk, let's take Bella out in the stroller, which you know I usually would say no to, because there are moments when I'm feeling sad and stuff and I would rather just sulk at home. But when I come home from a Pilates session, he'd always be like, you always feel happy, you always say that you feel so happy after your workout with One Life and you get to go out. So that small thing, that short time that I'm away from home and I'm doing something for myself, already helps so much with the postpartum stress. So I guess if you guys are also experiencing some postpartum stress or depression, I hope that you have someone you trust that you can talk to about it, and I hope that in some small way you're able to do something for yourself, just something for yourself every now and then, because a happy mom is the best mom. Did you have any moments when you broke down, like when you did with Sienna's newborn phase? I look back with how I was with Sienna's newborn phase. I think I really didn't give myself much grace. I had such a huge, unattainable expectations for myself and for my baby. And that is why I had such a huge, meltdown during Sienna's newborn phase. I think now, as a second-time parent, I have a much more realistic set of expectations, not just for myself, but also for my baby. And I think that's why I don't have as bad of a postpartum depression. I mean, it's there, and I also don't feel as confused and as overwhelmed. But this time, I did have a few moments when I broke down, but not for the same reasons as with Sienna, but it's really because of what we went through with Bella. I mentioned with you guys that we had a few hiccups along the way with Bella during her first few weeks of life, and that's why I broke down, because I was just really worried about her, and we were just going through something medical, and that's why I broke down. And even though I was trying to keep it together and think positively about Bella's situation then, just the hormones, and as a mom you tend to worry, so I really broke down. And I felt guilty as well because we had to leave Sienna for a few days because of Bella's situation, so I felt even more guilty because I didn't want Sienna to feel that we abandoned her. I didn't want her to feel alone. If I could just clone myself, I would. The breakdown was really caused because I wanted to be there for both of my kids, and I physically couldn't. Strategies for pumping and storing milk while away. Honestly, I'm not the best person to ask for this because I'm just also learning and coping. But what I try is really not to stress over my breast milk so much. So I try to not get ahead of myself, get in a really relaxed, calm disposition before I start pumping. And I stick to a certain time also for all my pumping schedules. And yeah, that's it. I just follow what the doctors say, that when you're away from baby, pump during the times that you need to feed baby and you're away from baby. What are your crib or lounge essentials for baby? Honestly, with Sienna, we accepted so much. We kept so much from all the different companies that really wanted to help us out, and I'm still very much thankful to all of them. But with Bella, I learned that you don't really need much. So we have a crib for Bella. We also have a bassinet for her just for the other room, so that there's also a safe space for us to put her in when I need to go to pee or something. And then we have a bouncer. That's it. We don't have a baby mobile. I don't believe in that because I feel that it might actually distract from their sleep training or from them going to sleep. So we don't have any baby mobiles. None of the bumpers or the blankets and the pillows, because again, those are all, for me at least, I don't think they're safe for baby. And I'm a safe sleep believer, and you need a bare crib with a fitted sheet, and that's it. So that's what we have for Bella. The only thing that's close to her crib is her sound machine, which is a very, very strong sleep cue for her. So we also bring that sound machine with us when we go on car rides, when we put her to sleep somewhere else outside of her room, when we're at my mom's house. Such a powerful sleep cue. What's the best nursing bra for you? I like the ones from Mama Way and also by Cade. They sent me some also. It's called by Cade on Instagram. They have this material that's very much like the Airism seamless material. I really love them because they're so soft. I love soft fabrics, and those are my faves. How did you introduce your toddler to your baby? So I already touched upon this on my birthing vlog. So before going to the hospital, I made sure to always remind Sienna that there will be a day that you might wake up and mommy and daddy are not here. It means that we're just at the hospital. It means that baby sister is coming soon. So I'd always just make sure that she's briefed that baby is coming soon and we might not be around, and you don't have to worry. Nainai or Ai will come and stay with you here. So it's important to brief them of the possible scenarios, and so that they don't get spooked out when that happens. So I also made sure to prepare a gift for her from her baby sister, so that also really helped. And then I also made sure to incorporate the stuff that I learned from my introducing the baby to toddler class by Parenting Emporium. So I made sure that when Sienna was coming in to meet Bella for the first time, it's not her meeting Bella, me, and dad. At least one of us came out to pick her up and accompany her to meet Bella. So it's not her meeting the new family unit. You get what I mean? So it's really like a coming together instead of her and then us. So if mommy can, then mommy and daddy can go out and meet the older sibling by the hallway or by the entrance of the hospital, and so that you can come in together to meet the new addition to the family. I also made sure that I wasn't holding Bella, that Bella would be in her bassinet, so that visually also it would be easier for the older sibling to accept a new addition to the family. She won't feel like, oh, someone's taking my place and she's already with mommy before me. And then once we were at home already, I just always made it a point that whenever I'm unavailable to Sienna, it's not not because of Bella, but because of me. So for example, if she'd say that, Mom, can you be with me? And I have to breastfeed Bella, I won't say that, oh, Bella needs to breastfeed now, so I can't be with you. I would instead phrase it as, oh, mommy needs to breastfeed so that mommy's boobs won't feel engorged. Like, it's really more because of me and not because of Bella. And then I would also make sure to make Sienna feel that, it's not just her waiting around all the time, that Bella also waits for mom when mom is with Sienna. So for example, I've already fed Bella, I've changed her diaper, she's completely fine, like I know that I've already attended to her needs, but she starts crying and I'm with Sienna. She would be, oh, mommy, Bella's crying. I'd be like, yes, my love, but it's Bella's turn to wait. It's mommy's time with Sienna. So I really saw her face light up because she felt like, okay, it's my turn now. So it's not always her waiting. So this is something that I actually learned on TikTok. And then also we'd make sure to keep her involved. Like I would say that, oh, do you want to give Bella her milk? Do you want to help mommy put on mommy's nursing covers? So those little things makes the adjustments easier. A tip though that I wasn't able to do with Sienna, but also because we didn't really have any changes with her routine or her lifestyle before Bella came. The coach that we met at Parenting Emporium did tell us that if you need to introduce some changes, let's say if because of the baby, the older sibling needs to move to a new room or something like that, then make sure that you incorporate this change at least 3 months before baby comes in, so that the older sibling won't associate this change to the baby and won't be resentful to the baby and say that, oh, it's because of the baby, that's why I'm doing this and I'm doing that. So yeah. How do you balance your attention between the two? Honestly, I still feel so guilty about this. I've been talking to my mommy friends about this, that I feel like I haven't been spending much time with Sienna and a lot of my time is going to Bella. But all the moms always tell me that, this is completely normal. This is the newborn stage. It will ease up. So I guess just to make myself feel better, I try to always just involve Sienna whenever I can. And when I feel like, I have the time and the energy, I would really set aside time to play with Sienna or do an activity with Sienna. And also it's really important for me that we still eat together all the time and for me to be able to put her to sleep all the time as well. So if I'm feeding Bella and I need to put Sienna to sleep, then I would bring Bella to Sienna's room and Bella will just be part of our sleep routine with Sienna, because these are things that are really important for me. Is it really better the second time around, pregnancy and postpartum stage? For me, yes, because you're just generally less anxious, less stressed, less confused. I think it's really the confusion. You're more sure of yourself and you're not as jumpy anymore. Like every little move that the baby makes when you're a new parent, you're like, oh my god, is she okay? But as a second time parent, you're more chill, more relaxed. So yes, it is better. Did you opt for a night nurse? Yes, we did. With Sienna, we had a midwife for the night shift, and with Bella, we also had a night nurse for her, but it was much shorter this time because again, we were able to sleep train Bella earlier and she was really sleeping through the night earlier. So we only had a night nurse for 2 months and I highly recommend it. I mean, if you're able to get yourself a night nurse, go for it. They're a huge help. You get to rest more. Your partner also gets to rest more. You're also less anxious because you know that your baby is in good hands. So 10/10 recommend. How did you teach your babies to bottle feed without nipple confusion? The key here is when to introduce the bottle feeding. So do not introduce it too early and also don't introduce it too late, because if you introduce it too late, then they will refuse the bottle. So for us, we introduced the bottle when Bella was around 6 weeks old. And I only gave her the bottle once, and then after that, we would only give her the bottle usually once a day lang. So I still prefer latching. How do you entertain your toddler while eating in public screen-free? The key here is to bring other things to entertain them with. So with Sienna, what works are arts and crafts. So we would bring coloring materials, notebooks, pens, also little magnetic tiles. Those are also really fun for her. So yeah, there's a lot of ways for you to entertain your kids without using the screen. It's just easier to use the screen, and that's why a lot of us fall into the trap of giving them our screens. But really, there are a lot of ways. There was even a time that we forgot to bring anything for Sienna. So what we would do is we played with the paper placemats. We would fold them and make up little shapes with the paper mat. And then if there's really nothing for us to use, I would play an I Spy game with them, or we would do chica time. So we just gotta get creative, parents. Tips for breastfeeding and going out with baby for this anxious mom. Oh my gosh, hello, I'm also an anxious mom. Tips for breastfeeding is that always have a nursing cover with you. It would be helpful if you have a portable fan with you, something that I always forget to bring, because when you're breastfeeding, you're always just so hot, no matter how cold the room is. Make sure to have a breastfeeding nursing friendly top like this one. It's very easy. And so yeah, that's just my tip. But a breastfeeding tip in general, make sure to check your baby's latch, hold them properly. Something that I learned from my lactation consultant is that during the newborn phase, when you're still teaching them to latch, latch instead of doing the cradle hold. So if this is the baby, hold the baby like so, and then use your elbow to kind of assist with the body, and then do so like this. It's easier to make sure that they have a correct latch instead of like a cradle hold, because a cradle hold, their head might go in different directions. With this one, at least you're sure that the ears, the shoulders, and the hips are all aligned. So there. And if it doesn't feel good, if something is painful, make sure to unlatch them. Use this little pinky, unlatch them, because if it doesn't feel right, it's probably not right. What we want is a deep latch so that mommy doesn't suffer. Okay, so that is it for our Q&A. I wanted to answer more, but I am becoming more and more stressed because my husband and Sienna, they're both waiting for me. Tonight is actually date night, so I'm taking up so much of their time, and I'm starting to feel very, very anxious and sweaty because of this. So yeah, time for me to leave. I hope that you guys enjoyed this Q&A and that you learned something from me, and I wasn't so all over the place with my mom brain. If I was, then just leave me some questions below and I'll try my best to answer them when I find the time. See you guys on the next vlog.